The gunshot echoed through the warehouse like thunder. Seo Min-jun stood over the kneeling man, blood dripping from his knuckles, his expensive suit splattered with crimson. His face showed nothing. No anger, no remorse, just cold, calculated emptiness. "I asked you once," Min said quietly. "I won't ask again. Where's my shipment?" The man trembled, tears streaming down his face. "Please, I have a family. I have children who need me." Min tilted his head slightly. "Funny. So did the man you stole from. He had a wife, 2 daughters. They buried him last Tuesday." He raised his gun, pressing the cold metal against the man's forehead. Wait. I'll tell you everything. "The shipment is at Pier 17. Container number." Min's phone rang. For a moment, nobody moved. The ringing cut through the tension like a knife. Min glanced at the screen, and his entire demeanor shifted. The color drained from his face. "Boss?" His second-in-command, Kang Hyun-woo, stepped forward. "Everything okay?" Min answered the call, listened, his jaw tightened with every passing second. "When?" His voice cracked. "How bad?" He ended the call and turned to Hyun-woo with wild eyes. "My mother. She collapsed. They're taking her to Brooklyn Grace Hospital." Hyun-woo's expression darkened. "Go. I'll handle this." Min looked at the kneeling man, then back at Hyun-woo. "Let him go." "Sir, I said let him go." He was already running toward the door, his heart pounding so hard he could hear it in his ears. The most feared man in Brooklyn, the man who controlled territories, who commanded armies, who made grown men weep with a single glance, was suddenly just a terrified son racing against time. His driver barely kept up as Min barked orders. "Faster! Run every light! I don't care about tickets!" "Yes, sir." The city blurred past the windows. Min's hands wouldn't stop shaking. He kept seeing his mother's face, her gentle smile, the way she called him "my little prince," even though he was 37 years old and had more blood in his hands than he could ever wash away. She was the only person who still saw him as human. If he lost her? No, he couldn't think like that. 12 minutes later, the car screeched to a halt outside Brooklyn Grace Hospital. Min burst through the emergency room doors with Hyun-woo and 2 guards flanking him. The ER was chaos. Crying children, bleeding patients, overwhelmed nurses rushing in every direction. Nobody paid attention to the man in the blood-stained suit until he opened his mouth. "Where is she?" Min's voice cut through the noise like a blade. "Elderly Korean woman. Brought in 15 minutes ago." "Where?" The young nurse looked up, startled.
Sir, you
need to check in at the... Min grabbed the edge of her desk, leaning in with murderous eyes.
I am not going to ask twice.
"I am not going to ask twice." Security guards moved toward him. His men reached inside their jackets, ready to draw weapons. The tension in the room spiked to dangerous levels. And then she appeared. Adaolisa Eza had been awake for 31 hours straight. Her scrubs were stained with coffee and someone else's blood. Her natural hair was pulled back in a messy bun, and exhaustion carved deep lines under her beautiful, dark eyes. She was in the middle of treating a teenager with a stab wound when she heard the commotion. She looked up and saw a standoff about to explode. Without hesitation, she stepped between the security guards and the terrifying man in the expensive suit. "Hey!" Everyone froze. Adaolisa stared directly into Min's eyes, those cold, dangerous eyes that had made countless enemies beg for mercy. She didn't flinch, didn't blink, didn't show an ounce of fear. "You, scary guy, come with me." Min's jaw tightened. "Who the hell are you?" The person who's going to take you to your mother before someone gets shot in my ER. She turned and started walking. Move.
Move.
Now.
Now.
For a moment, Min didn't react. Nobody talked to him like this. Nobody ordered him around. He was Seo Min-jun, the devil of Brooklyn, the man who made empires crumble with a phone call. But this exhausted woman in dirty scrubs had just commanded him like he was a child. And somehow, impossibly, he followed. Hyunwoo exchanged a bewildered look with the other guards but stayed behind as ordered. Adaolisa led Min through the crowded hallways, weaving past gurneys and crying families until they reached a trauma bay. And there, lying on a hospital bed with an oxygen mask over her face, was Mrs. Seo. Min's legs nearly gave out. His mother looked so small, so fragile. Her face was twisted in pain, her wrinkled hands clutching the bed sheets like she was trying to hold on to life itself. Yuma! Min rushed to her side, grabbing her hand. His voice cracked as he switched to Korean. I'm here! I'm here! Mrs. Seo's eyes fluttered open. Min-jun, it hurts. It hurts so much. I know. He pressed his forehead to her hand, and for just a second, the mask slipped completely. He wasn't a crime lord. He wasn't a killer. He was just a son watching his mother suffer and feeling completely helpless. Adaolisa watched this transformation with quiet surprise. She had seen a lot in her years as an ER doctor. Gang members, drug dealers, violent criminals of every kind. But she had never seen anyone shift so completely from terrifying to vulnerable in a matter of seconds. She stepped forward. Sir, I need to examine her. Min looked up, his eyes wet. What's wrong with her? Tell me. That's what I'm trying to find out, but I need you to step back and let me work. I'm not leaving her. Adaolisa met his gaze firmly. I didn't say leave. I said step back. There's a difference. Learn it. He stared at her for a long moment. This woman who spoke to him without fear, who treated him like any other worried family member instead of the monster everyone knew him to be. Slowly, he stepped back. Adaolisa moved with practiced efficiency, her hands gentle but quick as she examined Mrs. Seo. She checked vital signs, palpated the abdomen, and watched the elderly woman's face for reactions. Mrs. Seo cried out when Adaolisa pressed on her right side. I know, Adaolisa said softly. I'm sorry. Just a little more. Min stood 3 feet away, his fists clenched so tight his knuckles turned white. Every whimper from his mother was a knife in his chest. What is it? He demanded. What's causing her pain? Adaolisa turned to a nearby nurse. Get me an ultrasound, now. And page Dr. Yoon Jae-sung. Tell him it's urgent. The nurse rushed off. Doctor. Min's voice was low, dangerous. Answer me. Adaolisa faced him without flinching. I think it's her gallbladder. Likely inflamed, possibly ruptured. I won't know for certain until I see the imaging. And if it's ruptured? Then she needs emergency surgery tonight. Min's face went pale. Surgery? It's a common procedure. Laparoscopic cholecystectomy. Minimally invasive. But given her age and the severity of her symptoms, there are risks. Risks? Min stepped closer. What kind of risks? Adaolisa held her ground. Infection spreading. Internal bleeding. Complications from anesthesia. Your mother is 73 years old, Mr. Seo Min-jun Seo. Mr. Seo, I need you to understand that while this surgery has a high success rate, nothing is guaranteed. I need you to prepare yourself. Prepare myself for what? Adaolisa's voice softened. For every possibility. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Min felt the ground shift beneath his feet. He had faced bullets, betrayals, and attempts on his life more times than he could count. None of it had ever scared him. But this was different. "She's not going to die," he said, more to himself than to Adaolisa. "I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure she doesn't. But I need you to trust me." Adaolisa looked him directly in the eyes. "Can you do that?" Something passed between them in that moment, something neither of them could name or explain. Here was a woman who didn't know him, didn't fear him, and was asking for his trust like it was the most natural thing in the world. "Do you know who I am?"
Do you know who I am?
Min asked quietly.
Nope. And right now, I don't
Nope.
care. You're a patient's
And right
family.
now,
That's all I
don't
need to know.
care. You're a patient's family. That's all I need to know. Most people are afraid of me. Adaolisa almost smiled. Most people haven't been awake for 31 hours. Fear requires energy I don't have. Despite everything, the terror, the uncertainty, the crushing weight on his chest, Min felt the corner of his mouth twitch. "Fine," he said. "I trust you." The ultrasound confirmed Adaolisa's suspicions. The gallbladder was severely inflamed with signs of possible perforation. Mrs. Seo needed surgery immediately. Dr. Yoon Jae-sung arrived within minutes, a tall, composed man in his 50s with steady hands and a calm demeanor. He reviewed the imaging, spoke briefly with Adaolisa, and then approached Min. "Mr. Seo, I'm Dr. Yoon. I'll be performing your mother's surgery tonight. The procedure should take approximately 2 hours. We'll remove the gallbladder entirely and check for any infection spread." Min nodded stiffly. "And the success rate? For a patient her age and condition, I'd say 90%. She's in good hands." 90%, Min repeated. That meant a 10% chance of... He couldn't finish the thought. Dr. Yoon placed a hand on Min's shoulder. "I've been doing this for 25 years. Your mother is strong. I can see it in her eyes." They wheeled Mrs. Seo toward the operating room.
I'm right here, Mrs.
She
Seo.
reached
Hold
out
on.
weakly, and
Clear the
Min
way,
grabbed
please.
her hand, walking alongside the gurney until they reached the restricted area. "Iyama," his voice broke. "I'll be right here when you wake up. I promise." Mrs. Seo squeezed his hand with what little strength she had. "My son, my beautiful son. Don't worry, I'm too stubborn to die." He laughed despite the tears streaming down his face. "Yes, you are." The doors closed between them. Min stood there for a long moment, staring at the spot where his mother had disappeared. The weight of helplessness crushed him. He was a man who controlled everything: territories, people, outcomes. He had built an empire through sheer force of will, but here, in this sterile hospital hallway, he controlled nothing. Yunwoo approached carefully. "Boss, the men are asking for instructions. Should we set up a perimeter?" "Do whatever you need to do." "And the situation at the warehouse?" "Handle it." Yunwoo hesitated. "Sir, you have blood on your suit. People are staring." Min looked down at himself, the crimson stains on his expensive fabric, the remnants of violence he had committed just an hour ago. He hadn't even noticed. "Let them stare." Hyunwoo nodded and stepped away to make calls. Min found the surgical waiting room and sat down heavily in a plastic chair. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. A television mounted on the wall played muted news coverage. Other families huddled together, clinging to each other for comfort. He had no one to cling to. An hour passed. Then another. Min watched the clock like it was his enemy, each minute stretching into an eternity. And then footsteps approached. He looked up to find Adaolisa standing there with 2 sandwiches in her hands. "Turkey or ham?" she asked. Min blinked. "What?" "The vending machine's finest selection. Turkey or ham?" "I'm not hungry." She sat down in the chair beside him. "Didn't ask if you were hungry. Asked turkey or ham." He stared at her, this strange, fearless woman who had no business being here, no business caring whether he ate or not. "Turkey," he said finally. She handed him the sandwich and unwrapped her own. They ate in silence for a few minutes, the quiet somehow more comfortable than awkward. Min spoke first. "Why are you still here?" "Told you, my apartment sucks." "That's not the real reason." Adaolisa chewed thoughtfully. "Maybe I wanted to make sure you didn't terrorize my staff while waiting." "And the real reason?" She paused, her expression growing distant. "You remind me of my brother. The way you looked at your mother. He used to look at ours the same way." Min turned to face her. "Used to?" "She passed 5 years ago. Stroke. My brother never recovered from it." "I'm sorry." Adaolisa shrugged, but her eyes betrayed the pain she still carried. "Me too." Silence stretched between them again, but this time it felt different, heavier, more intimate. "What's your name?" Min asked quietly. She looked at him. "Adaolisa. Adaolisa Eze. That's beautiful. What does it mean?" "Daughter of God." Min nodded slowly. "And what do people call you?" "Ada. Most people call me Ada." He considered this. "And what do people who aren't terrified of you call you?" She laughed, a real laugh, warm and unexpected. "Nobody's ever asked me that before." "Then I guess I'm the first." Their conversation was interrupted by the sound of doors swinging open. Dr. Yoon emerged, pulling down his surgical mask. His face was calm, and Min felt his heart stop completely as he searched the doctor's expression for any sign of news. He stood up so fast, the chair scraped loudly against the floor. "Mr. Seo," Dr. Yoon approached with steady steps. "The surgery was successful. We removed the gallbladder and cleaned out the infection. It was more extensive than we initially thought, but we caught it in time. Your mother is stable." Min's knees nearly buckled. He grabbed the back of the chair to steady himself as relief flooded through his entire body like a tidal wave. "She's okay." His voice came out hoarse. "She's really okay? She's in recovery now. She'll need to stay for observation, but I expect a full recovery. She's a fighter, your mother." Min closed his eyes and exhaled slowly. For the first time in hours, he could breathe. "Can I see her?" "Give us about 30 minutes to get her settled. A nurse will come get you." Dr. Yoon nodded at Adaolisa and walked away. Min stood frozen, his hands still trembling slightly from the adrenaline crash. Adaolisa rose from her seat. "See? I told you she'd make it." Min turned to face her, really looked at her for the first time, not as a doctor, not as a stranger who happened to be in the right place at the right time, but as the woman who had stayed with him through the longest night of his life. "Thank you," he said. "Dr. Yoon did the hard part." "No." Min shook his head. "You did something harder. You made me human for a few hours. That's not easy to do." Adaolisa didn't know what to say to that. She had seen glimpses of who this man truly was, the way he transformed from terrifying to tender the moment he saw his mother, the way his voice cracked when he spoke Korean, the way he sat alone in that waiting room with nobody to lean on. There was something deeply broken about him, and something deeply beautiful, too. Min reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a sleek black card. He held it out to her. "What's this?" Adaolisa took it carefully. "If you ever need anything, protection, money, a favor, anything at all, you call that number." She examined the card. It had no name, no company logo, just a phone number embossed in silver. "Is this your bat signal or something?" Min almost smiled. "Something like that." "I don't take payment for doing my job, Mr. Seo." "It's not payment." He held her gaze. "It's a door, in case you ever need one." Adaolisa hesitated, then slipped the card into her pocket. "All right, but I probably won't use it." "It's fine. Just knowing you have it is enough." She turned to leave, exhaustion finally catching up with her. She needed to go home, shower, sleep for about 16 hours. Adaolisa. She stopped and looked back. Min stood there, looking uncertain for the first time since she'd met him. This powerful, dangerous man suddenly seemed almost nervous. "I want to see you again," he said. "You don't even know me." "That's exactly why I want to see you again." She should have said no. Every instinct told her to say no. There was something about this man, something dark and dangerous that lurked beneath the surface. Getting involved with him would be reckless, but she was tired of playing it safe, tired of being alone. There's a small restaurant on Maple Street. Korean food, nothing fancy. I go there sometimes after long shifts. Min nodded slowly. "Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. "That works." She walked away without looking back, but she could feel his eyes on her the entire time. The next evening, Adaolisa found herself standing in front of her closet, staring at clothes she hadn't worn in years. She felt ridiculous. It was just dinner. Just a simple meal with a man she barely knew. A man who had blood on his suit the first time she met him. She pushed that thought away and chose a simple dress, elegant but understated. She left her natural hair down, applied minimal makeup, and told herself this wasn't a big deal. It was absolutely a big deal. Min was already at the restaurant when she arrived. He looked completely out of place in his designer coat, sitting at a small table with plastic tablecloths and paper napkins. But when he saw her walk in, his face transformed. He smiled. It was small, barely there, but it changed everything about him. "You came," he said as she sat down across from him. "You sound surprised. Most people don't keep their promises to me." Adaolisa raised an eyebrow. "Maybe you've been dealing with the wrong people." Food arrived quickly. Simple Korean dishes, nothing elaborate. They ate in comfortable silence at first, but curiosity eventually won. "Tell me about yourself," Min said. "What do you want to know?" "Everything." Adaolisa laughed. "That's a big ask for a first date." "I don't do small talk." "Fine." She set down her chopsticks. "I'm 32. Brooklyn born and raised. Single mother raised me and my brother after our father left. I went to medical school on loans that I'll be paying off until I'm ancient. I work 70-hour weeks because I have no choice. I haven't taken a vacation in 4 years. She picked up her drink. "Your turn." Min leaned back. "I'm 37, born in Seoul, raised in New York. My father was murdered when I was 9. I built everything I have from the ashes he left behind. I've done things that would make you never speak to me again." Adaolisa studied him carefully. "And yet, here you are, eating cheap noodles with a broke doctor who yelled at you in an emergency room. This is the most normal thing I've done in years." "Normal isn't really your thing, is it?" Min met her eyes. "It wasn't. Until I met you." After dinner, they walked through the Brooklyn streets. The night air was cool and crisp, and the city hummed around them with distant traffic and laughter from nearby bars. Adaolisa stopped suddenly. "Okay, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest." Min stopped beside her. "Ask. What do you actually do? And don't say business. Don't give me vague answers. I'm not a child." He was quiet for a long moment. "You sure you want the truth?" "I don't waste time on liars." Min turned to face her fully. His expression was serious now, all traces of warmth gone. "I run a criminal organization, territory, protection, import operations, some of it legal, most of it not." Adaolisa felt her heart pound harder. "So, you're a gangster?" "I prefer entrepreneur with flexible morality." "Have you killed people?" No hesitation. "Yes. Recently. The night we met, before I came to the hospital." Adaolisa stared at him. The streetlight cast shadows across his face, making him look both beautiful and terrifying at the same time. "You're confessing murder to me," she said slowly. "Right here, on a public street. I'm confessing who I am." Min's voice was steady. "If you want to walk away, now's the time. I won't stop you. I won't blame you." She should have run. Every rational part of her brain screamed at her to turn around and never look back. This man was dangerous. Not metaphorically dangerous. Not exciting bad boy dangerous. Actually, genuinely dangerous. But her feet wouldn't move. "Why are you telling me this?" she asked. "You could have lied. You could have made up some story about imports and exports. Because you saw me as a scared son before you knew anything else about me." Min stepped closer. "Nobody sees me that way. To everyone else, I'm a monster, a weapon, something to fear or use. But you brought me a sandwich and sat with me like I was just a person." Adaolisa felt her throat tighten. "And you want me to keep seeing you that way, even after everything you just told me? I want you to decide if that man, the one in the waiting room, is worth knowing, even with all the darkness that comes with him." The wind picked up, blowing her hair across her face. She pushed it back and looked at him. Really looked at him. "That's either incredibly honest," she said, "or incredibly manipulative. Maybe both." She laughed despite herself, a short, surprised laugh that escaped before she could stop it. "I should run," she said. "You should." "I'm not going to." Min's expression shifted. Something flickered in his eyes. Hope, maybe. Or disbelief. "Why?" Adaolisa took a deep breath. "Because everyone deserves someone who sees past the armor. Even men who terrify everyone else." She reached out and took his hand. His fingers were cold, rough, scarred from years of violence she couldn't imagine. But when they wrapped around hers, his touch was gentle. "You're going to regret this," he said quietly. "Probably, but not tonight." They walked in silence for a while, hands intertwined like teenagers on a first date. It was absurd. It was reckless. It was the most alive Adaolisa had felt in years. Eventually, they ended up on a rooftop, one of Min's properties, she assumed, though she didn't ask questions. The view of Brooklyn spread out beneath them like a blanket of lights, and the city noise faded to a distant hum. "Can I ask you something?" Adaolisa said. "Anything." "What happened to you?" "What made you this?" Min was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was distant, like he was reciting a story that belonged to someone else. "I was 9 when I watched my father get executed in our living room. 3 men broke in. They made my mother and me watch while they shot him in the head. Then they left us there with his body. Adaolisa's hand tightened around his. I was 12 when I made my first kill. A man tried to assault my mother. I found a knife and I handled it. I didn't feel bad. I still don't. I was 16 when I took over what was left of my father's organization. Everyone thought I was too young, too weak. I proved them wrong. By the time I was 20, I controlled more territory than my father ever did. He turned to look at her. I built an empire on blood because blood was all anyone ever gave me. Violence was the only language that kept us alive. Adaolisa felt tears prick her eyes. Not pity. She knew he wouldn't want that. But sorrow. Sorrow for the child who had to become a monster to survive. And your mother? She asked softly. She's the only reason I have any soul left. Min's voice cracked. When she looks at me, I remember I wasn't always this. I was a little boy who liked to draw, who cried when he fell off his bicycle, who believed the world was good. You're not a monster, Min. You don't know what I've done. I know what I've seen. Adaolisa stepped closer, cupping his face in her hands. A man who threatened to burn down a hospital because his mother was in pain. A man who sat alone in a waiting room for hours, terrified. A man who brought me to a rooftop just to show me the stars. She brushed her thumb across his cheek. That's not a monster. That's someone who forgot how to be loved. Min closed his eyes. When he opened them again, they were wet. If you stay with me, he said, my enemies become your enemies. My danger becomes your danger. I can't promise you safety, Ada. I can't promise you a normal life. I'm not asking for normal. I'm asking for honesty. Then honestly? He leaned his forehead against hers. I'm falling for you, and it terrifies me more than any bullet ever has. She kissed him. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't careful. It was desperate and hungry and full of everything they couldn't say with words. His hands tangled in her hair, her arms wrapped around his neck. And for one perfect moment, the rest of the world disappeared. When they finally pulled apart, both of them were breathing hard. What happens now? Adaolisa whispered. Now I spend every moment trying to deserve you. And if your world crashes into mine, I'll stand between you and anything that tries to hurt you. She shook her head. I don't need a shield, Min. I need a partner. I don't know how to be that. Then learn with me. He pulled her close, wrapping his arms around her like she was the most precious thing in the world. This is the most reckless thing I've ever done, he murmured into her hair. Fallen in love? Letting someone in. The next 3 weeks were a blur of stolen moments and secret meetings. Min would show up at the hospital at 2 a.m. with food. Adaolisa would fall asleep on his couch after double shifts. They talked for hours about everything and nothing. Her childhood in Brooklyn, his memories of Seoul, their shared love of terrible action movies. It wasn't perfect. His phone rang at odd hours with calls he had to take in. Another room. Sometimes he disappeared for days without explanation, and Adaolisa couldn't ignore the bodyguards who followed them everywhere. But when they were together, none of that mattered, until the night everything shattered. Adaolisa was reading in her small apartment when her phone buzzed. 2:17 a.m. A text from Min. Stay home. Don't go to work. Don't answer the door for anyone except Hyunwoo. Do not call me. Her blood ran cold. She tried calling him. No answer. She tried again. Nothing. A third time, straight to voicemail. Something was very, very wrong. 3 hours passed. Adaolisa paced her apartment like a caged animal, checking her phone every 30 seconds. Nothing. No calls, no texts, no explanation. Then she heard it. Footsteps in the hallway, heavy, multiple sets, moving fast. She froze. A thunderous crash exploded through her apartment as the front door flew off its hinges. Two masked men rushed in, dressed in black, moving with military precision. Adaolisa screamed, "Shut up!" The first man grabbed her by the throat and slammed her against the wall. "Where is Seo Min-jun?" "I don't know." She clawed at his hand, gasping for air. "Liar!" The second man stepped closer, pulling out a knife. "We've seen you with him. We know what you are to him. Now tell us where he is, or I start cutting." "I swear I don't know. He doesn't tell me anything about his business." The man with the knife pressed the blade against her cheek. She felt the cold metal bite into her skin, a thin line of blood trickling down. "Wrong answer!" Bang! Bang! Both men dropped instantly, bullets tearing through their skulls before they could react. Adaolisa collapsed to the floor, gasping and sobbing. Her ears rang from the gunshots. Blood pooled around the bodies just feet away from her. Kang Hyun-woo stood in the shattered doorway, gun still smoking in his hand. His face was expressionless, professional. "Dr. Easy." His voice was calm despite the carnage. "Come with me, now!" "What? What just... There's no time to explain." "More are coming. We need to move." He grabbed her arm and pulled her up, stepping over the bodies like they were nothing. Adaolisa's legs barely worked. She was trembling so hard she could barely walk. Yun-woo half carried her to a black SUV waiting outside. He shoved her into the back seat and climbed in after her. The car peeled away before the door was even closed. "Where are we going?" Adaolisa's voice shook. "Where's Min? Is he okay?" "He's alive. That's all I can say right now. Those men, they wanted him. They were going to..." "I know." Hyun-woo's jaw tightened. "The Jong family, a rival organization. They've been planning this for months." "Why? What did Min do?" Hyun-woo glanced at her. "He took something from them. Now they're taking from him." The safe house was an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of Brooklyn, heavily guarded by men with guns who nodded at Hyun-woo as they passed. Inside, it had been converted into a makeshift command center, monitors, weapons, maps spread across tables. And there, standing by a window with bandages wrapped around his torso, was Min. Adaolisa ran to him. "Oh my God!" She reached for his wounds, her medical instincts kicking in. "What happened? These bandages are soaked through. You need a hospital." "Hospitals ask questions." Min's voice was flat, cold. "I'm asking questions. What the hell is going on?" He turned to face her, and she saw something in his eyes she hadn't seen before. Not fear, not anger. Something worse. Defeat. "They came for me first," Min said. "Hit 3 of my locations simultaneously, killed 12 of my men. I barely got out. And there's men at my apartment?" "Sent to find me through you." He paused. "Or to hurt me by hurting you." Adaolisa felt the blood drain from her face. "They knew about me. They have your name, your address, photos of us together. They've been watching for weeks." She sat down heavily on a metal chair, her mind reeling. This was real. This was actually happening. She had nearly died tonight because of who she chose to love. "So what does this mean?" she whispered. Min was silent for a long moment. When he spoke, each word seemed to cost him something. "It means this has to end." Adaolisa's head snapped up. "What? Us. Whatever this is, it's over." You're breaking up with me. Now! I'm protecting you! Min's voice rose for the first time. Don't you understand? They found you because of me. They almost killed you because of me. As long as you're connected to me, you're a target. So your solution is to throw me away like garbage? My solution is to keep you alive. She stood up, fury replacing her fear. And what about what I want? Don't I get a say in this? No. Min's expression hardened. Not this time. That's not fair. Life isn't fair, Ada. I learned that when I was 9 years old, watching my father's brains splatter across our living room floor. He was shouting now, his carefully constructed walls crumbling. Everyone I love becomes a target. Everyone I care about gets hurt. I won't watch that happen to you. Tears streamed down Adaolisa's face. So you'd rather push me away than fight for us? I'd rather you hate me alive than love me dead. The words hung in the air between them, heavy and final. Adaolisa wiped her eyes, struggling to compose herself. You're a coward. Min flinched like she had slapped him. You talk about protecting me, but that's not what this is about. Her voice trembled but grew stronger. You're scared. Not of them, of this, of feeling something real for the first time in your miserable life. Ada! You'd rather hide behind your walls than risk getting hurt. You'd rather be alone than admit you need someone. She stepped closer, jabbing her finger at his chest. That's not protection, Min. That's cowardice. He caught her hand, holding it against his heart. She could feel it pounding beneath her palm, fast, desperate, afraid. You're right, he said quietly. I am a coward. I'm terrified of losing you. Every nightmares I've had for the past 3 weeks has been your face, your voice, watching you die because of me. Then don't push me away. Fight with me, not for me, with me. For a moment, she thought she had reached him. His eyes softened. His grip on her hand loosened. Then the walls went back up. Yunwoo will take you somewhere safe. New identity if you want it. Money. Whatever you need to start over. I don't want your money. Take it anyway. I want you. She was sobbing now. The man who ate vending machine sandwiches with me at 4 a.m. The man who showed me the stars. That's who I want. Min turned away. That man gets people killed. Min, please, look at me. He didn't move. Please. Nothing. Adaolisa stood there for a long moment, tears falling silently. Then she straightened her spine, wiped her face, and walked toward the door. She stopped with her hand on the frame. You're making a mistake, she said, without turning around. And one day, you're going to realize it. I just hope it won't be too late. She walked out. She didn't look back. The days that followed were the longest of Adaolisa's life. She threw herself into work with a vengeance, taking every shift available, volunteering for every overtime opportunity. Anything to keep her mind occupied, anything to stop herself from thinking about him. It didn't work. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw his face. Every time the ER doors opened, her heart stopped, hoping it was him. Every night she lay awake in her new apartment, a safe house Hyunwoo had arranged, staring at the ceiling and wondering where everything went wrong. Her colleague and closest friend, Han Soo-min, noticed the change immediately. Okay? Soo-min cornered her in the break room after a particularly brutal 12-hour shift. Talk. Now. There's nothing to talk about. Girl, you've lost 10 pounds. You haven't smiled in 2 weeks. You look like a zombie with good bone structure. Soo-min crossed her arms. Something happened. Spill! Adaolisa stared at her coffee, watching the steam rise and dissipate. I made a mistake. I got involved with someone I shouldn't have. The terrifying, handsome guy from a few weeks ago? The one who looked at you like you hung the moon? Adaolisa's eyes burned. How did you? Everyone in the ER saw it, Ada. The way he followed you around. The way you softened when you talked to him. Seo Min sat down across from her. What happened? His world is too dangerous. People tried to kill me because of him. So he ended things to protect me. And you just accepted that? Adaolisa looked up sharply. What was I supposed to do? He made it very clear. Since when do you let anyone make decisions for you? Seo Min leaned forward. You're the woman who walked up to a man, threatening to burn down this hospital and told him to sit down. You're the woman who works double shifts to pay off debt that would crush anyone else. You're the strongest person I know. This is different. Why? Because he's powerful? Because he's got enemies? Seo Min shook her head. Ada, you knew what he was when you chose him. You saw his darkness and you stayed anyway. Are you really going to let fear win now? Adaolisa wiped her eyes. He doesn't want me, Seo Min. He made that very clear. No, he's scared of losing you. There's a difference. Seo Min reached across the table and squeezed her hand. Sometimes the people who push us away are the ones who need us most. The question is, are you going to let him self-destruct alone? Or are you going to fight? Before Adaolisa could answer, her pager buzzed. Emergency admission. Room 7. She stood up automatically, grateful for the distractions. But when she reached room 7 and looked through the window, her blood ran cold. Mrs. Seo lay on the hospital bed, pale and trembling. Monitors beeped frantically. Nurses rushed around her. And sitting beside her, holding her hand with desperation in his eyes, was Min. Adaolisa froze in the doorway. Every emotion she had buried for 2 weeks came flooding back. The love, the anger, the hurt, the longing. It crashed over her like a tidal wave, leaving her breathless. She could walk away, turn around and let another doctor handle this, protect herself from more pain. But Mrs. Seo had been kind to her, had treated her like family during those brief, beautiful weeks. She deserved better than Adaolisa's personal drama. She pushed open the door. What happened? Min's head snapped up. For a split second, his mask crumbled. She saw relief, longing, pain flash across his features. Then it was gone, replaced by careful blankness. Fever, he said. Chills, vomiting. It started this morning. Adaolisa moved into professional mode, checking vitals, examining Mrs. Seo with gentle hands. Post-surgical infection. It happens sometimes. We caught it early. Will she be okay? I need to run some tests, start her on antibiotics. But yes, she should recover fully. Mrs. Seo's eyes fluttered open. When she saw Adaolisa, a weak smile crossed her face. My favorite doctor, she whispered. Adaolisa felt tears threaten, but pushed them back. Hello, Mrs. Seo. I heard you missed us too much and decided to come back. Mrs. Seo laughed weakly, then winced. I told Min-jun to bring you flowers. For me. He says you're not together anymore. Adaolisa glanced at Min. He looked away. We're not, she said softly. That's a shame. Mrs. Seo reached out and took Adaolisa's hand. You made him happy. I haven't seen my son happy in 20 years. The words hit Adaolisa like a physical blow. She squeezed Mrs. Seo's hand gently. Rest now. I'll take good care of you. She finished her examination and stepped out of the room. She made it 3 steps down the hallway before she heard his voice. Ada, wait. She stopped but didn't turn around. Min walked up behind her, close enough that she could feel his warmth. Thank you, he said, for taking care of her. It's my job. Ada, don't. She finally turned, and the anger she had buried came rushing out. You don't get to do this. You don't get to push me away and then look at me with those eyes like you're the one who's hurting. I know. Do you? Because from where I'm standing, you made a decision about my life without asking me. You decided I was too weak to handle your world, too fragile to fight beside you. I never said you were weak. You didn't have to. Your actions said it loud enough. Min closed his eyes. When he opened them again, they were wet. I was wrong. Adaolisa blinked. What? I was wrong. About everything. His voice cracked. I thought pushing you away would keep you safe. But all it did was destroy us both. I couldn't focus. Couldn't think. Couldn't breathe because part of me was always with you. That's not my problem anymore. I know. He stepped closer. But I need you to hear this anyway. I dealt with the Jong family. The threat is over. Your name is cleared. You're protected now, with or without me. Adaolisa stared at him. How did you deal with them? You don't want to know. I'm asking. Min hesitated. I gave them something they wanted more than revenge, territory, partnership, money. In exchange, you're untouchable, forever, even if you never speak to me again. She processed this slowly. You made a deal with the people who tried to kidnap me. I made a deal that guarantees no one in my world will ever hurt you again. He swallowed hard. I would burn everything I've built for you, Ada. I realized that too late. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The hospital hummed around them, distant beeping, muffled conversations, the endless rhythm of life and death. Why should I trust? You again? Adaolisa finally asked. You shouldn't. Min's voice was raw. I broke your trust. I made decisions without you. I treated you like something to protect, instead of someone to stand beside. Yes, you did. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking for a chance to prove I can be different. Adaolisa searched his face for any sign of deception, any hint that this was just another manipulation. But all she saw was a broken man standing before her, stripped of his armor, begging for redemption. How do I know you won't push me away the next time things get hard? She asked. You don't. Min's voice was steady, despite the tears on his cheeks. But I can promise you this. I will never make a decision about your safety without talking to you first. Your life is yours. Your choices are yours. I forgot that once. I won't forget again. Words are easy, Min. Then let me prove it. With time, with action, with everything I have. She stepped closer, closing the distance between them until they were inches apart. I need honesty, she said. Complete honesty. Even when it's ugly. Even when you think it will scare me away. Done. I need to be involved, not protected from the sidelines like some fragile doll. Involved in decisions, in plans, in everything that affects us. Done. And if your enemies come again, we face them together. Min took her hands in his, side by side, like you said from the beginning. Partners. Adaolisa felt the walls around her heart begin to crack. She had spent 2 weeks building them, brick by brick, trying to protect herself from this exact moment. But standing here, looking into his eyes, she realized something. She didn't want to be protected anymore. She wanted to be loved. You hurt me, she whispered. I know. If you do it again, you'll destroy me, and I'll deserve every second of it. A tear slipped down her cheek. Min reached up and wiped it away with his thumb, his touch gentle as a prayer. One more chance, she said. That's all you get. That's all I need. He kissed her. Not desperately like their first kiss on the rooftop. This was softer, deeper. A promise sealed with lips instead of words. When they finally pulled apart, both of them were crying. I love you, Min said. I should have said it before. I should have said it 1,000 times instead of pushing you away. I love you too. Adaolisa laughed through her tears. God help me, but I do. God has nothing to do with it. Min smiled, a real smile that transformed his entire face. This is all you. You're the miracle I never deserved. 6 months later, Adaolisa woke up in a bed that cost more than her old apartment's annual rent. Sunlight streamed through floor-to-ceiling windows, painting the penthouse bedroom in shades of gold. She stretched lazily, reaching for the warm body beside her. Empty. She sat up, frowning. The sheets on Min's side were cold. He had been gone for a while. Then she heard it. Laughter. Coming from the kitchen. She grabbed Min's discarded shirt from the floor, pulled it over her head, and padded barefoot toward the sound. The scene that greeted her stopped her in her tracks. Min stood at the stove, wearing an apron that said, "Kiss the cook" in Korean. Mrs. Seo sat at the kitchen island, directing him with animated gestures, and between them, causing absolute chaos, was a tiny brown puppy. What is that? Adaolisa exclaimed. Min turned, spatula in hand. A dog! I can see it's a dog! Why is there a dog? Mrs. Seo beamed. I told him you needed company when he's working. A woman shouldn't be alone in such a big apartment. She's very persuasive, Min added with a helpless shrug. The puppy spotted Adaolisa and bounded toward her, tail wagging so hard its entire body wiggled. She scooped it up and was immediately attacked by a tiny pink tongue. Oh my God! Her heart melted instantly. It's the cutest thing I've ever seen! You're supposed to be mad at me, Min said, for making decisions without you. I'll be mad later, after I cuddle this baby forever. She carried the puppy to the kitchen island and sat down beside Mrs. Seo, who immediately pushed a plate of food toward her. Eat. You're too skinny. I'm not too skinny. My son doesn't feed you enough. Min rolled his eyes. Ioma, she eats more than I do. Then cook more. Mrs. Seo patted Adaolisa's hand. Don't worry. I'll teach you to cook proper Korean food. Then you won't need him at all. I'm standing right here, Min protested. We know, both women said in unison. Min shook his head, but he was smiling. Actually smiling. The kind of smile that crinkled his eyes and softened his entire face. Adaolisa had seen it more often these past 6 months than she ever thought possible. He walked over and kissed the top of her head, wrapping his arms around her from behind. Happy, he murmured. Getting there. What else do you need? Adaolisa leaned back into his embrace, watching Mrs. Seo feed treats to the puppy, despite its already full belly. Time, she said. Safety. You. You have all three. Then yeah, she turned her head to look up at him. I'm happy. Min held her gaze, and she saw everything in his eyes, the darkness he still carried, the scars that would never fully heal, but also something new, something that hadn't been there when they first met. Hope. I never thought I'd have this, he said quietly. Have what? Peace, love, a family. He glanced at his mother, at the puppy, at the woman in his arms. a reason to come home. Adaolisa reached up and touched his face. Now you do. Now I do, Mrs. Seo cleared her throat loudly. If you two are going to be romantic, at least wait until after breakfast. The eggs are getting cold. They laughed, all three of them, and the sound filled the penthouse with warmth. Outside, the city of Brooklyn hummed with its usual chaos. Somewhere out there, enemies still plotted, and danger still lurked. Min's phone would ring soon with business he couldn't avoid. Adaolisa would return to the hospital for another grueling shift. But right now, in this moment, none of that mattered. Right now, there was only love. Broken, imperfect, hard-won love. The kind worth fighting for, the kind worth dying for, the kind worth living for. And as Adaolisa sat there surrounded by her new family, the dangerous man who had become her home, the fierce mother who had become her own, the ridiculous puppy who had already stolen her heart, she realized something. She had never been happier in her entire life. Some love stories begin with a spark. Theirs began with blood and chaos, and a terrified son in an emergency room. And somehow, against all odds, it had become the most beautiful story of all. If this story touched your heart, do not forget to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments below. Which moment hit you the hardest? Was it the rooftop confession, the breakup, the reunion? Let us know. And if you have not already, subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss another story like this. We post new stories every day, and trust us, the next one is even more intense. Thank you for watching until the end. It means more than you know. See you same time tomorrow.